What's up, guys? Can you hear me? Everyone in? Nice, nice, nice. Sweet. All right, let's just get right down to it. Kind of slow still, kind of picking up. I feel we're in kind of like a limbo right now where we should get some runners going soon. I think the right catalyst, the right situation, and we should see something pop in here this week. I mean, it is Thursday, so maybe not tomorrow, maybe tomorrow, maybe Monday. I don't know. But you can kind of feel things picking up a little bit. Right now we've got Carve moving. Decent volume actually now. Was watching this, for the last hour or so. And you can see it's like super, let's get to the daily. This thing did run back in May, March, April, yeah, May. Big run from like the 2s to 12, and then rejection and just a fade since then back down to its initial levels. Today it popped. Just random low volume kind of thing. I didn't see any news or anything like that. Let me double check. Yeah, I don't see anything, so I don't exactly have a reason for this. I do know it's a low float. It is nice and low. Spread gets kind of wicked. But this is just kind of, this is what concerns me, is it was just doing no volume. I was watching it here, and I was thinking, okay, it hasn't traded at all. So I couldn't really find an entry or take an entry. Only potential there being that it is a low float. It is kind of a first green day of sorts. But to me, this is just like kind of like could be a chat room pump, especially this right here. Time of day for this to pop was good. Midday was just about over. But it still just feels sketchy, and I don't want to chase it. I was watching this pool for a possible entry, this pool. This is the kind of thing where it's low volume and you'll have a lot of amateur shorts just short selling this just because it's up. So this does have the potential to squeeze at this point. It has done quite a bit of volume now. But like I said, I just don't feel like chasing this thing yet. No catalyst, so there's nothing really for me here other than the fact that on this daily chart, at least since this move, hasn't been much. There's not much more resistance here for this thing until you get here. And then you're dealing with, bag holders, but they're from a long time ago. I mean, a lot of them may have capitulated by now, especially with a float this size. So tough call, but not really. You can't buy this. Like, what are you going to do with this? Other than take extremely small size and just kind of like sell if it goes against you, which we've talked about in the past with such a low float and being so liquid, super sketchy. But it's also low float, so it can do funky things. This volume was good. I mean, this is something that I would, when we see the low floats really get going, this is something that actually kind of would interest me, and the only way I would play it is with really small size. And then if volume comes in, like maybe grab a little bit on a dip, that kind of thing. And if the trade goes against me, since you don't have any legitimate support levels with no volume underneath, you'd have to cut quickly. So these are like, so this is not me yet. And that's what you'll kind of notice is that like, there are times where I will play this. There are times where going into the afternoon, if low floats are moving, this is something I'll kind of consider. But this is a good sign to me if this can hold up at all. It will get smacked down eventually and sooner rather than later, probably. You never know. But yeah, this is something that when you guys see me starting to get more aggressive, I'll take a shot at something like this. I'm just not in that mode yet. So yeah, I missed out on a couple bucks a share. Not a big deal. Still kind of midday. This is just like so chat room pumpy. But what you'll see when the markets are ripe, like this can work. The only thing that you have to keep in mind is that if it doesn't work, you have to cut immediately. Should get a high day break here. Maybe not, maybe double top. Here's a high day break. I'm not going to touch it. I won't chase a high day break at this point. This trade's kind of passed me by. That's how I feel. Now, there could be technically, you know, 3 or 4 bucks of upside at least. Kind of like at a maximum for me, but I don't care about that 3 or 4 bucks upside if I'm going to be risking like a real quick snap here. So it's very risky up here. Down here, yeah, risky, but not as risky, especially if you're taking small size. Problem up here is small size can still crush you because it can snap so quickly. And this is a strategy you guys will see hopefully next week. Like, I'm hoping these things pick up so we can really start kind of pounding the pavement on what when we get some prime market conditions for me. And that's just me being safe. Like, I don't know. I got sick of like little midday losses and kind of wasting time in trades when I could be doing other things. I feel like, yeah, I'll miss some runners, but for the most part, I'll be maximizing my trades, which is super important, especially if you're under PDT. Like, you have to have the attitude. If you're under PDT, you got 3 day trades for the week. Hopefully, you guys have all figured out a way to get like 6 or something, because it's not that hard. I guess most of you aren't married. Some of you are married, but some of you aren't. So I don't know. I digress. Anyways, yeah, still waiting a little bit longer, but I do like the signs. Like, ABIL was popping yesterday. ABIL had a sweet move yesterday. I mean, and they amended their shelf registration. Like, these guys are ready to dilute, and it still popped. I didn't play it at all. Like, I couldn't make any sense of this pre-market gap up, and I was watching it, but I was just kind of ignoring it. Like, let's see. So this was the only action that kind of got my attention right here, because even though this crack was bad, I was thinking, as long as this first dip holds up at $6 holds up, VWAP, like, you would have good risk reward there to at least get another perk. But like I said, it's totally sketch. And then I was watching it in the close yesterday for a possible dip buy, maybe, based on just kind of like this chart. I was thinking maybe, if anything, like $6 will hold up again, and you can get a pop. But I didn't want to risk dip buying this in a close, especially after I kind of pressed my luck last week on a couple dip buys in a close. So yeah, man. So for me, this was just a no play. I generally hate panics in a close, and this was a huge fade and panic. Like, it was panicking, fading, and for the most part, what concerns me on a chart like this, if you're dip buying in a close and this $6 breaks down, then you're probably pretty screwed. And it actually did try to bounce this morning from 5. But there's that $6 level again acting as resistance, and all this overhead volume, almost all the volume traded yesterday was above $6. So I did not want to take a chance going into after hours holding it when $6 could break down after hours and then never recover with this much volume above it. So take that into account with the shelf registration amendment. I think it went into effect today, and that was just kind of like absolutely no overnight when a chart like this is so bad. So that's ABIL. Let's see what CARV is doing again. Kind of check in on it. Double top of sorts occurring right now. 5 minute, 15 minutes, not helpful right now, really. Still looks strong. I mean, this can still squeeze. You know, I'm actually going to keep an eye on it just in case on one of my charts. If I were to play something like this and say 650 holds or something like that, or VWAP holds at this point, it will be basically what I would consider a scalp. And a scalp on a low float like this can actually add up to pretty good money. I don't like buying up here in the move. Kind of like I explained to you guys. I actually do like buying more in here very early, very small size on a play like this. So up here, this could have double topped already and we're kind of, you know, but we'll see. It's not pulling hard. So, I mean, could be trapping shorts as well if this breaks down at all. Yeah, we can fire some questions and tickers too, you guys. CBSI, obviously, which we've all kind of watched for weeks now and weeks and months because this thing's been kind of crazy for quite a while. Yeah, I mean, we were watching this 2 breakout. We were watching this breakout. We were watching it break back over 2. They had the earnings, they had the uplisting, and now it's pushing into the, you know, mid 4s and probably to 5s. Obviously not going to chase it. If anything, what we're waiting for is a nice 2-day pull for an entry at all. You know, just, I mean, that's all I can think of to do on this chart. Maybe like Dom or Papa John can figure some other way to play it. I don't know what to do with it, so. And then I just don't have the patience, man. Like this is the kind of play where to maximize your gains, you have to be so patient. It's like, clearly, even Grittani, when he had his biggest gain ever, he was like swinging it for a while and adding and like swinging. So this isn't, so CBSI, you can day trade it, you know, like maybe hold it overnight and just kind of take your easy profits as you get these green days, which some of you have been doing. But for me, I just get so impatient with this. So something I have to improve on for sure. And I also haven't been playing OTCs this year. I don't know why. Like, it just kind of fell off my radar. I think I was playing some whack stuff kind of end of the year last year and realized I was like trading way too many OTCs. But I felt OTCs were kind of more in play last year anyways. This year I feel like they've kind of slowed down a bit. But I don't know. I haven't been keeping a close eye on them. Tom says ship kind of sailed for this run until another big pull, CBSI. Yeah, I totally agree. You know, I don't see anything else to do here. I totally agree. You know, and then it could go another day and go to like $5 tomorrow, and it'll be worse at that point. So I'm not going to chase it here. I won't chase it if it goes towards 5. Just waiting for pulls. Jesse said CVSI looks like promo, total short. Yeah, you're crazy, bro. It is going to be a short. Don't get me wrong, but they actually have, you know, some actual catalysts and stuff going on, and you know, I mean, it will be a short, and you'll probably be able to, you know, get a piece. But this isn't a pump and dump like back to zero kind of thing. I don't think. Yeah, Jesse, check out. No, Jesse, go to Go to Gritani on YouTube. Like, go to his YouTube channel, and he does a whole thing on them. Jesse, just go to Gritani's YouTube channel. He did a bunch of research on their fundamentals, which is, you know, I mean, it is what it is, but they're fundamentally like actually a company with like sales and stuff. Was it not a YouTube video, Dom? Yeah, maybe it's just on his blog. Just go to his blog. Here you go. I just threw his blog up on his trade there. All right. So Carve actually holding up. We'll see what happens. Could be a violent pull. Could, but it's consolidating nicely with volume. So could have another leg in it. You know, looks like it does to me. There we go. Could get stuffed, but usually once this thing tests once on this high day, the next one's usually, from what I've seen, you get at least a new high day. You know, the longer this presses up, the longer shorts sitting at 725 are thinking, getting a little bit nervous here. That coupled with the fact there's not much else in play, this is like the main play in my opinion right now. It's the only play. It's the only thing up by its highs on day one. But my problem is just like the long-term chart on this. And this is why I said scalp earlier. This thing has spiked 1, 2, 3, you know, like 4 times. And each time it will not go day 2. So for me, that's, you know, I'm tempering expectations. I'm not thinking, all right, I'm going to buy this and take it into day 2. Because that's too risky. I don't want to end up with, you know, some kind of crazy gap down or something. Back to what I was saying though, once you get a double top and then you get a press on this high, you usually get another high. But if not, it's a triple top, you know, and if it really can't break out through this level, then it could be a really violent pull. So it's one of those things where I'm definitely not buying it right here. You know, my risk reward here is absolute shit. And if I were to, and this thing turned on me at all, I would be out. Like anytime I'm in a situation like this, maybe I do get an itch to trade and maybe I'm being stupid and taking a trade I shouldn't. This is the kind of scenario where I'll just bail real fast, and because I know I'm wrong. I know I shouldn't necessarily be buying this, you know, which I'm not. But you can see, like, this liquid stuff, not great, but in a market where low floats are running, like, you have to actually pay attention to stuff like this. And then when volume comes in, you can still play it. You just have to cut right when it goes against you. And don't chase. Like, little pull, get in, and then just start selling into pops. Like, that's kind of my game with low floats. Dom said CBSI filed 8K today. They're not doing a reverse split, which is usually, people obviously are perceiving it as bullish, and it usually is, or can be. It just depends. Canadian John, check out AMPE. AMPE. Let's see what we're looking at here. I know the ticker. I know I'm probably not trading it. Look at that. That's interesting. When the hell did that happen? Was it a huge gap down? Oh, wow. That is a sick gap down. What happened here? Holy crap. Let me check it out. Announces pricing of public offering in common stock warrants this morning at 8:40. Okay. Now it's just bouncing like crazy, but pricing of underwritten, so offering, did the offering drop this? That's nuts. 20 million shares and warrants to purchase up to 20 million shares. Combined price of 40 cents per share. Accompanying warrant, proceeds of 8 million, blah, blah, blah. Warrants are exercisable 6 months after issuance at a price of 40 cents per share. Okay, so we do know that the warrants aren't exercisable for 6 months. And those will be at 40 cents per share. So there's 20 million. All right. And then they've diluted 20 million, or they have sold, they've done their public offering for 20 million at 40 cents per share. Yeah, I mean, I don't see what to do with this. You know, you may get a bounce, but that is horrific. Let me see what else is going on here. Hold on. Okay, so drop down. Let's see what they were saying on 8.7. Yeah, I mean, it was an offering. Sorry, hold on, guys. Drug fail. Yep, I was just reading that. Drug fail and an offering. I won't touch it. So that's my take. Drug fail and offering. It's never good. I mean, this thing could have a dead cat bounce here or a big bounce, but I just don't care. Just leave it alone. All right, sorry guys. I was just kind of lost in some stuff. My bad. HTGM, yeah, I mean, this was popping yesterday into close. I said it was something I didn't want to chase anyways. Probably not going to play it. Pressing nicely. You know, it's just not... It's not really just volatile enough for me at this point. Like, I mean, it did make a really nice move yesterday. I just... Yeah, it's just, I just don't see anything to do here. I mean, there's, you know, there's going to be some resistance here. from yesterday. Could break out and go, you know, through 4, but I just don't. I don't see the potential in it for me at this point. And I know I'm going to have to be patient, and I'm looking for something more like Carve. You know, Carve is not the correct, or A-bill even yesterday, but Carve is not like. Sorry, Carve's cracking. But this doesn't have a catalyst, and there are a lot of things, and the markets I still don't think are quite ready for this kind of thing. For me to be doing this kind of thing. Maybe they're ready. Like maybe tomorrow we'll get another one, and the next day, and then I'll start kind of, you know, tinkering with them. The pattern this week, like, which I'm still kind of keeping an eye out for, is stuff like, let's see here. Well, here, like CTXR even. Now it got smashed this morning. But, you know, we've been seeing a lot of these, and I've seen this play come into play. And, like, when it comes into play, and I might be a little too late on it. You know, I might not have been focused enough on it. But obviously CTXR is ugly. But it had an amazing spike this morning, even though the volume wasn't huge. I mean, it did go nuts. And it's kind of been this pattern, and I think they did have a catalyst too. What was it? It was a oh, they have a 10 million underwritten public offering that they announced this morning. Huh. Weird. I don't know. That's weird. But I have been seeing stocks like this bounce. This chart, which is like death drops and then bounce. And CTXR did it. ABIL to a certain extent, even though it gapped up pre-market, you know, was kind of just dying. What else? There have been several of them. Like IFMK was another one, I think. Is it IFMK? Yeah, just kind of stocks like hitting lows and bouncing. I don't know. And I know there are several more too. So I've been kind of like, and that's a pattern I'll see come into play once in a while. And it's just like literally stocks hitting 52-week lows and low price and then bouncing. I just haven't played those in a long time. But there was a period last year where I was like literally hitting a couple of those a week for a couple weeks, and it was working really well. But then they just kind of stopped. So and those are just, I don't know. It really comes down to catalyst too. Like, is there a catalyst? IFMK did kind of have one. You know, they said they weren't sure why there was such volatility in their stock price, and then it did pop, but now it's back down, which is generally what happens. Which is like what happened with SSLJ, those plays like that, you know. Which is holding a buck now. Not that I care. I'm not going to be like, I don't like, you know, I'm trying to play volatility days. I'm not trying to like find a swing and position myself somewhere on a daily chart when it's not doing any volume. Let's see. Sorry. I'm a little scattered today. Sorry, guys. A little scattered. Okay, so let's go back to Carve. Oh, GLBS is another one I think that was doing that. Similar pattern. See, just like kind of dropping to 52-week lows and then getting some bouncing, which happens. You know, at a certain point, at least some shorts will cover and whatever. Long-term shorts or whatever it is. Someone asked what I thought about Win, I believe. Who asked about Win? Someone asked about Win. Earnings winner. Not a small float. It's like a 40 million float if this is correct. Day one. I mean, yeah, this is something that you could possibly play into day two. It has, you know, positive earnings, positive reaction to earnings, that is. but it's not a play I'll take. Like I don't know what to do with it. It's a little bit bigger float. May get a day 2, but obviously you keep your expectations in line. I am going to start kind of getting into some other trades that I was doing last year, maybe. Just to show you guys, like during slow times. I mean, I was actually doing decent during slow times too, just kind of taking little pieces of these moves. So maybe I'll get back into that. This year I've been much more focused on like exponential plays and trying to, and I still take my singles, but I've been just way more patient, and I don't know. Maybe I have the luxury to, but it doesn't really. I feel better as a trader. Like I don't know. We'll try it. I'll try. If things stay slow, I'm gonna have to adapt and figure out some other plays because that's just how it is. We're trying to make a living from this. You have to be able to profit in the slow times too. So if it doesn't, I mean, if we don't pick up here in the next week, yeah, I'm absolutely going to start digging around for some swings and some other stuff that will work for me. Kind of get back into dig into the past repertoire of plays. Because at one point, and we can go through my spreadsheets and stuff maybe next week. At one point, I was tracking all my trades. I don't do it as much anymore. I need to maybe start doing that, especially if I'm going to get back into some of the older strategies I was using. I'll kind of dig back and go through them and see if we can't find some more applicable stuff for the slow markets. It's pretty important to be able to grind out cash on a weekly basis, obviously. So there is a fine line between being, too passive and being too aggressive. So, I mean, you got to be smart. It's still better to take no trade than to take a real bad loss. I'm just waiting. I think at this point things are turning around a bit. I think as we get into August, it should speed up and volume should come back. And that's mainly what I'm waiting for. I just want to see volume come back. I mean, ABIL did amazing volume yesterday. It did amazing volume. So we've had some plays. And we just got to, at least for me, I just want to see a little bit more confirmation before I get really aggressive. EKSO was interesting. They had earnings. We said don't hold in the earnings. It actually dropped after hours. Earnings weren't great. But they do have that Ford news, and I think that's the only thing keeping this thing going. If you look, it's actually made new highs today, which kind of pissed me off when I look back at it because I did take a small loss on that. EKSO is a potential swing to me. So I may wait for some sort of pull back towards 2 again, and if I get it, I may start building in on a small swing position. But the float's bigger now. I mean, it's one of those things that, it may not work. So we'll see. So win, I'll get back to win, sorry. Yeah, win, I mean, it's an earnings winner. Like I said, the float is a little bit bigger. Could it have a day 2? Absolutely. Like, I mean, it's holding up near its highs. Am I personally going to play it? No, I'm not. It's traded about 2.8 million shares today. And you can see that's not like out of the ordinary for this stock. I mean, pretty much, this is, it's not extremely liquid, but it does trade every day. But that's a great reaction to earnings. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to see this go for another couple days. I really wouldn't. I just don't, that's just not for me right now. I don't know. If this were trading like an abnormal amount of volume, then I may, it may entice me, but what you guys will find is I'm looking for volatility. Like if there's no volatility, and Anne brought this up in the chat about the volatility, and we were discussing, I think, AMP-E was, no, not AMP-E, it was SESN. And it's just, yeah, it's not a volatile stock. It's a bigger float, and bigger floats generally aren't as volatile. And that's why you guys will find I'm always looking for low float stocks. Like, it's not rocket science. It's just a matter of finding, like, putting 2 and 2 together in terms of catalyst, market conditions, are low floats running. That's when I make most of my money, is when we have low floats running, and even better when you have low floats running in sympathy with each other. That's when you'll actually see me sometimes in 2 or 3 trades at a time, like 2 or 3 low floats at a time, that's when I really do get aggressive. And at that point, it's totally, a lot of the stuff that we discuss it just changes things. Like the way I trade will be a little bit less positional and a little bit more momentum. I'm looking for low floats with news and then trying to get in on the wave nice and early and then take profits. Like, that's where I want to be in trades. And right now, I just haven't had too many opportunities to do that, and the couple of opportunities that are there, I'm not there being aggressive because I don't think it's time yet. I'm sure you can all feel like kind of just like a draggy market still. It's not just in, if you feel that, it's not just in your head, that's the truth. I'm waiting for a sector to light up. I'm waiting for something, for some kind of, even like low floats in and of themselves are almost a sector when it comes to penny stocks. That's how I feel. So like if low floats are moving, then I will get more aggressive. But I want to see it sustained, and I want to see day twos. I don't just want to see these one and done runners, which we've had. We have, other than like AWX, which was total black swan. Everything else has been one and dones for the most part. So kind of for me, like the less day twos you're getting, the less safe it is on day one, if that makes sense. Like, when you get, if we're getting a lot of day twos, then maybe you have, then you won't get these afternoon panics, which, like, that's all I've been seeing are afternoon panics, gap and craps, just like it's been slow. I think it's favored the short seller like the last couple months for sure. That being said, you could be a short seller and have been doing amazing and then literally wiped your account out with AWX. So there's the risk there. So for me, just a little bit more confirmation, just a little bit, and I'll start to get a little more aggressive. Yeah, I saw Jesse just brought up IDRA. I just saw that myself. Hi, Daybreak. When did they do the reverse split? Ah, there it is. Reverse split. Okay. I mean, yeah. They did do one. 1 for 8. Let me see something. So they have news today, which is that they're going to be presenting at a conference, which for me is not a great catalyst. unless low floats are running. Then, then pretty much any catalyst can make them run, depending obviously on the sector, if it's like a certain sector that's running or if just low floats in general. But sometimes you'll see low floats get going and then it just light like in one sector and then it'll just light up low floats. Then just random low floats are popping. But Joe asked, so let's see, hold on one sec. So Chris is asking, how do I define scalp trade? Good question. So I define a scalp trade as anything where I'm just going to take real quick profits and not let it run, okay? So for me on something like Carve, if I was buying this at like on this high daybreak earlier on at 575, I probably would have taken most of my position off in like already here into the sixes. I wouldn't have been sitting, holding, waiting for this move to develop. But I'm not a good scalper. So like, it's kind of, I don't know. I say scalp it, but then I'd probably take half off or something. Basically what I mean by scalp is like I know I might be out of this trade really quick. And I know if I get a pop, I'm at least going to take half off, that kind of thing. Sometimes a scalp for me will turn into a nice trade, but like, I don't know, when low floats get going, they get sketchy too. Like it's easy to chase. And so I'm just taking little pieces of each low float that's moving. I'm not like really, unless like I said, great chart setup, catalyst, you're in early, the markets are ripe, everything's pointing your direction. Then it's a little bit different, and then I'll actually hit it with more size. So like so once we get into when low floats are moving again, that's when you'll see that even each individual low float trade is not the same. Like there are still different steps I'll go through on different low float trades, depending on the scenario. Like not any one trade for me is like basically the same. I mean, sure, you'll have some trades where the chart pattern's the same, but things are usually different. So in other words, like the same chart pattern and different market conditions won't do the same thing. It's just how it works. So I hope I answered your question. When I say scalp, I mean, I'm just going to be taking it off real quick. I'm not saying I'm taking 10 cents. I just have a really quick sell finger. That's all. Where on others, I'll have more conviction and I'll sit through a dip, and I'll maybe take profits a little bit more slowly. Looking for a bigger picture move, and I don't really use price targets, but say it really has room to run, I will give it time to run, and that's just as important. So if you can be safe and kind of combine it with that attitude, with the right conditions, the right catalyst and everything else, you can have great gains like that. But when you're gunslinging low floats, you have to understand if that, the difference between if you have a great trade there and if you're just trying to get in on some low float momentum, and, there's a big difference. So praying to the market gods to hit us with some good stuff next week. I'm itching. I'm really itching. Joe asked, it's showing 150 million equity feed. Yeah, but they just did a recent reverse split, and like I said, like the equity feed floats. If they've done any dilution, like within the between now and the time that they got these statistics, it's not accurate. So you have to take it with a grain of salt, and ultimately you have to, if you need a share count, you have to go to the filings. But for me, I can pretty much, like what I'll do is I will look at the float, whatever listed float is that I have at the time, and then I look at it. Is it trading like a low float, So something like Carve, it's like I have 1.37 mil for Carve, but this thing today has gone from 4 to 7. Quickly on not too much volume. So like I know that the float's reasonably low. David asks, would I say in this current market, taking quick profits would be the best way to go instead of patience? Yes. 100%. Jesse, I don't think IDRA is like a low float. They did a 1 for 8, so like yeah, I think it's like 18 million or something like that, if that's accurate. I'm not going to really touch it. I don't really see a play on it. Especially, so like that catalyst is not a great catalyst. And no, it's not a low float. So here's another random one that just hit my scan, TMSR. Oh, look at that. How sketchy is that chart? That is just the sketchiest chart possible. They did a 2-for-1 reverse stock. Oh, they did a 2-for-1 stock split. Interesting. That's funny. Well, 2-for-1 stock split. It doesn't trade any volume ever, and it still only traded 56,000. Okay, so this is nothing to me. I won't play this at all. I don't even know what this is, so. Chris is saying SYN is his pick for tomorrow. Wow. What is this? Yeah, you'll have to elaborate on that one for me. I know nothing about this stock. They need to dump 5 million shares. So what, you think they're going to try to pump it? That's ugly. It's a reverse split, and they're doing the split tomorrow. Is that what it is? Ah, shorting the split. Cool. Well, we'll watch it. Nothing there for me. I ain't buying it. Okay. So, yeah, I don't know what to do with this market right now. Other than keep being patient, which I'll have to do. Had a decent trade yesterday. can review that. What did I trade yesterday? MTSL. Yeah, I mean, and this is me reaching. Like that was like that's ugly, but that was me reaching yesterday. Like, and that's kind of what I was telling you guys. Like I'll kind of take some different. I will take trades. You know, I mean, it doesn't have to meet all my requirement for me to take a trade, but let's get this over here. There we go. Okay. Yeah, so this was yesterday morning, and it was just, you know, I just kind of needed, I didn't need to, but I kind of wanted a piece of something. ABIL was moving, making new highs and kind of running. So I was thinking maybe, okay, ABIL, we've had a couple other runners here the last week. Maybe I can catch a small piece of this. On the daily MTSL, I mean, it's popped hard. It's also just such a dud. And there's so much overhead resistance here. Like, all of this is still going to be overhead resistance. Bag holders are going to sell into the move. It's not actually a first green day like this was, obviously. There was a little first green day in here. But I was keeping in mind, like this to me was kind of a scalp, you know? And I actually played it pretty much perfectly. I think I sold at the top. And how many shares did I have? I think I had 6,000 shares or something like that. So I made about $2,000 on the trade, which was cool. I was happy with it considering, you know, I hadn't really been able to place a trade all week. So, I mean, yeah, just my thoughts going into something like that, and it's still just me being super conservative, was just take some off into the pops, just get rid of this position with the profit, you know, like a couple grand is enough for me to be happy with. At least I haven't made nothing this week. I also haven't been able to trade full time this week, which sucked since last week, basically. My plan next week is to trade like 5 full days. So we'll get it cracking. But MTSL, like I said, it was just one of those things. I mean, I didn't see a catalyst. Like, it's just a former low float. It's a former runner, low float, ABIL running. Like, I don't know. It was just kind of a sympathy thing to me. Like, maybe we'll get another kind of runner. Now we have Carve today. Like that, you know, that's why I'm hoping things are heating up. And the thing is, it could literally be any day. It could just be one stock that gets things going. AWX was too crazy, I think, to really give us momentum. Like, the drop was so violent and it was just so ugly. And it was still July, so I mean, we'll see. We're kind of getting a pulse again. That's how it feels to me. Kind of a rambling webinar today. Sorry, guys. There's just not too much to play. You know, we got about an hour left. I mean, we've still got Carve here. I don't know what to do with it, especially going into day 2. I don't like it. And I'm not going to be the only person who sees this. Like, this kind of creates, you know, this top obviously here. Like, there is some resistance from back, you know, later in May, right where this thing topped out. So it's probably dead, you know, I mean, it's just a funky low float. So like what I'm just kind of talking because even if there's nothing going on, at least you kind of see like I'm still evaluating plays. I'm still looking for things to trade. Um, but I'm just tending to ignore where I don't have an edge. Like on MTSL, some luck, definitely some luck there. Some luck in any trade, I think. Um, so yeah, this was one of those things. Volume did start to come in. I was watching the price action, so I got in early. I could have done the same on Carve. This, just like MTSL yesterday, was pretty illiquid. Only difference is this was only up like 20% when I got it, and Carve is up by the time Carve got to where I was interested in it over here, it was already up like $1.50 a share, almost $2 a share already. So like that seemed a bit risky to me. I don't like that scenario. In other words, like if this were to have occurred, like this volume and stuff lower, like with less risk involved and so much, not this like a liquid garbage down here, then and you had levels to risk off of or something like that, a little bit different. This looks dead though. This looks a little bit like ABIL yesterday already. Like obviously this was in the afternoon, but same kind of thing. You got this push and now it's kind of failing. And you got the crack below VWAP, and now it probably will struggle to get back over VWAP. I mean, this thing's probably dead. And that's why I don't chase it. I don't chase this stuff. One sec, guys. Wifey calling. All right, give me 1 minute, guys. Be right back in. All right, we back. Ian said many schools start next week. Hopefully we'll perk up the market. Yeah, my son's does, and a lot of schools will start, so hopefully it will. Meanwhile, it's carved more downside, kind of like we were talking about yesterday with ABIL. Doesn't surprise me. There's nothing behind this move, you know? I mean, and sometimes, yeah, they'll go day two. But for me, there's like, you know, I'm not looking, I definitely wasn't looking at this like a potential overnight. Like I said, if anything, like some sort of scalp. But there's the danger here. Like this triple topped and then it died, you know? This needed to break straight through quickly there. The fact that it just kept consolidating and then started to break down and cracked quick. Quick breakdown. So this is the kind of play, like it could bounce, but I'm not concerned trying to find a bounce. I don't want to find one. When the move didn't really have a reason in the first place, so that's why catalysts are so important. All right, let's check like that liquid nonsense over here. No clue, like I said, not gonna touch it. Ridiculous. Carve, don't care, dead to me. Dead fish. CTXR is dead to me. What's TAT doing? We got TAT popping up here. This is a company I traded like one of my first trades, I think. Yeah, I traded TAT back in like September of 2016, I think. And I haven't seen it since. Like, I mean, it's popped up a couple times, I guess, but TAT, is there a reason? I don't know. I don't think so. Oh, August 8th. Earnings, August 8th. Earnings, 8K. They're leasing corporate office space, blah, 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 and then 1 8K. Huh. So I guess it's an earnings winner of sorts. It's pretty illiquid still. I mean, it's traded 819,000 in volume today. No play for me. I don't care. It's not really too volatile, this stock, so I won't play it. It is up 42% today, but I really don't care. GLBS probably a one and done. As far as I'm concerned. Low VWAP, still a liquid now at this point. Don't care. IDRA, I mean, kind of interesting. Don't really care though. Don't like the catalyst. Win, just not volatile enough for me. Just trading kind of average volume for the most part for now. Bigger float, like I said. NVAX I see on my scan. I know I'm not even going to look at that one. Let me see something. GLBS. Yeah, I mean, I can tell you I'm not going to trade it, but I just want to see if there's any reason for it. No, don't care. Don't care, don't care. HTGM new high a day, says Joe. Yeah, it's pressing. Certainly pressing. So it's an exact double top at 378 for now in HTGM. Doesn't really get me excited. Maybe would attempt to break high day break at this point. I think it popped into end of day yesterday. I don't know. I'd rather not chase it. CLOW is an OTC that's up quite a bit today. Not below. CLOW. Yeah, I don't know what to do with that either. Just kind of creeping up. No play for me. No clue what to do with that at all. Okay, so no. It's up 110%. Says it's got a 4 million float. I have no clue. Index. I don't see anything worth trading at all. Nothing. Does anyone else see anything worth trading? Am I wrong? I don't see anything. PTGX, yeah, that actually is when I have been watching and still sitting there watching it. Oh, look at Carve. So random. Pretty crazy. Just a little squeeze going on. Crazy. Jesse said PTGX. Yeah, so I've been watching PTGX too. A very interesting daily chart. I mean, you know, they're sitting in the gap still. They've been holding the gap at 10 for several days. With the breakout over 12, basically. So yeah, I mean, that's something I've been keeping an eye on. I tried this morning but pulled, but I mean, it's basically in a range between like 11 and 12. We'll see what happens. I can't believe Carve's going to be pressing high day here. Can we get a quadruple top? Probably just get a big old squeeze here. It's possible. If this were consolidating above VWAP this whole time, I'd feel much better about it, but so right now we're just watching Carve. If any of you are bored, you should be. All right. Yeah, AMP keeps going. That's pretty crazy. Oh, just had to get up and stretch. Oh, man. All right, I think we're going to call it quits for today. I'm thinking, yeah, I'll be trading in the morning tomorrow, so I'm thinking we'll do a Friday morning session. Maybe we'll get something squeezing tomorrow. That'd be nice. So we'll do one tomorrow morning. I'll be in the chat the rest of the day. If I see any trades or I take anything, I'll let you guys know. Yeah, just bored as hell. Still need to see some momentum. But we're picking up, so hopefully the next couple days, guys, I'm hoping to be able to get some trades in for you, because they've been kind of few and far between the last couple weeks. So I'll catch you guys in chat. Have a good one, guys.